Good Monday night, everyone. Welcome to the Donovan Live Postgame Show on WKYC's Facebook Live with Jimmy Donovan. I'm Dave DeNatale. Good to be back with everyone. And Jimmy, boy, Kiera Cotton had a great question, one of our other digital producers. She came up and said, Jimmy, how does it feel to be in the booth calling these Browns games when they're winning like this? Because, well, this is something we're not used to around here.
We're really not. We're really not. This is new territory for us. It's great. I have to tell you, it's been unbelievable. It really has. And the fact that they're doing it at home, and I'm glad people are getting the 4 of the 5 wins have come at home, and they've become a tough out, as we would say, at home. They're a difficult team to beat at home now, and a lot of it is because of the marriage between the way they're playing and the fans getting more turned on each time how they're playing. So all of that is going in the right direction. But the feeling in the booth is it's really a high. Yeah. It really is. It's a high and you almost don't want to leave the stadium, and the fans aren't leaving the stadium. I mean, they kind of hang around for an extra 10 or 15 minutes before, if Baker's doing a network television interview in the post-game situation after having a big day, people stick around, and then he runs into the tunnel. And believe me, through the years, the thing that has always been hard to watch has been the visiting team going off to that left tunnel from our vantage point. And their fans, whether it's Steeler fans or Raven fans or Patriot fans, whoever the visiting team was on that particular day, and if they beat the Browns, and a lot of times they did, they would be celebrating on your turf. And so it's great to see it turning around. And it is turning around.
And it is turning around. I mean, they haven't won 4 home games in a season, I think, going back to 2014. And let's be honest, the last 4 or 5 weeks of that season, of a 7-9 season, were nightmarish because you could kind of see the wheels falling off the wagon because of the Manziel stuff and everything else that was going on.
And Josh Gordon.
And Josh Gordon. I mean, this is different. I mean, we're in December, and we talked about this so much. As we, what was going to be important for the Browns this year is to see them play better in December than they do in September. And by golly, we're there and we're seeing it. And I love the way this team fights back. And they didn't play very well early in the Houston game. They bounced back and got out to a really good start yesterday after on offense anyway, and carried it over the rest of the game.
Yeah, and a lot of people will say, last year and many years before last year, they would have lost that game yesterday, and they might have lost it by a point. Okay, because if you do the math, when he misses the extra point, when he puts it off the left upright, you have that sinking feeling, that Browns fans feeling in your stomach that a lot of times that comes back to haunt you. And in our case, it always does. So, and then it almost played out. I mean, think about it. If they had scored down there was just a little over 2 minutes left to go in the game, and the Browns had 3 timeouts left, but now you're losing. But there was something, all day long, and they were losing a lot in the game. They were behind, and the game was tied for a long period of time. But I always had the feeling Mayfield was going to get them the lead. There was no doubt in my mind that at some point they were going to take the lead. And then the only question was how much time would be left, and would the defense be able to hold on to the lead, which they were. And it was, that's all of these things figure into you're turning the culture to a positive side.
Yeah, I absolutely. I love that they went up top on the very first play. I mean, Carolina comes out and really kind of flex their muscles on that opening drive. So the Browns come right back, first play, go right to Perriman. I love it. I mean, to me, that was just that was something that Lindy and the offensive coordinator in the late 80s, Lindy and Fonte, would have called a play like that to start a game.
Well, he did. Remember in Cincinnati?
Yeah, exactly.
Cincinnati when they won the division that day.
Reminded me of that.
Cozart to Reggie Langhorne?
To just set the tone for the game and get the young quarterback who was 22, 23 around that time some momentum. And I thought Freddie Kitchens called a brilliant game. I mean, just figuring out how best to get the ball in the hands of Jarvis Landry. I thought was great too.
Yeah, there were like 4 incompletions in the game. This is how good the quarterback was. And I'm going to tell you this. It was cold down there yesterday. Now, has it been colder? Yes. Have we had more wind down there? Yes. But it was cold down there yesterday, okay? He is from Texas. He's played in really one bad weather game, he told me. He played in like a blizzard in Morgantown when West Virginia and
remember
Oklahoma
that.
played.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
And that's really the only time he's played in really severe conditions. Now, this was kind of a pleasant December day for us.
Yeah.
But for a kid from, Texas, you kind of wonder, how's he going to play in this kind of weather? This is different. And he was magnificent.
Oh, yeah.
His arm is incredible. Far beyond what I thought it was.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't know if we saw that arm in Oklahoma because they're such a run and catch. Get the ball out quickly and let the guy go because they have, all kinds of speed on that team. So I don't know that he threw long balls like he is throwing here, but I mean, he's got a lot on it. That throw to Landry is 51 yards, and that thing is moving.
And that was
a
razor
rocket.
sharp,
I know.
accurate.
Yeah, between two guys, But anyway, I think that he had 4 incompletions. 3 of them were drops.
Right.
The other one was kind of a throwaway. He threw to Landry into the Carolina bench.
Right.
And he was kind of in trouble. He had bootlegged out to the right. The other 3 were drops. I mean, Higgins dropped a touchdown.
Right.
And Njoku, I think, dropped one, at about the 50-yard line, up the seam. He was wide open. And Chubb on a check down, didn't get his hands up quick enough. And other than that, that's how good he was.
Yeah, he was terrific. We'll take some of your questions here on the show from Stephen Williams. I really enjoy the show, guys. Why would Gregg Williams, I don't think they're related, but they could be, but I don't think so. Why would Gregg Williams not be considered for the permanent head coach? I think he's going to be considered, Jimmy, as long as the Browns keep winning like this, but they have to keep their options open, and they have to think about the entire field because this is a job that's heavily in demand.
And the other thing is, Dino, you have to take the emotion out of this selection process. And the emotion is in his corner right now. And it's not only in his corner, but it's in Freddie Kitchens' corner, too, not to be the head coach, but to remain on in this relationship with Baker Mayfield and to continue to be the offensive coordinator here. But it's such an important decision, and you hope that it's a long-lasting decision, that whoever they do hire and select to be the head coach, that he's here for a pretty sizable period of time, unlike all of the guys who have come before him. And I think you have to subtract the emotion of, boy, they're playing really well, because they are playing well. But you have to look at this thing systematically, long-term, and, hey, if it's Gregg Williams, it's Gregg Williams. But I think if it's Gregg Williams, it will also, the selection will be made unemotionally that this is the guy. He's the right guy for the job. Now, he's got an advantage over anybody else right now because he's auditioning every day. So far, his auditions are good.
Yeah, so far it's going really well. But the problem is, you said the emotion. I mean, it's been 4 years since the Browns won this many games. It really, I mean, I haven't felt like this since 2007, where you go in, really, it's like every week you're super excited because you feel like you've got the quarterback. We thought maybe Anderson was the guy back then. And we're just kind of like, the fans are, I'm trying to say, the fans are like in the desert and they've just been like searching for water. And finally they feel like they've found the water, and so they don't want to let this go, not realizing that, again, there's a long-term obligation at play. You'd like to marry, I think eventually you'd like to have Dorsey, head coach, and Baker Mayfield all together in a nice package for the next 10 years.
Right. Now, whoever that is, I mean, I think that, there's a system that they definitely have in place that they're going to go through. Going back to 2007, if you remember, though, why this seems to be more legitimate and long-term, because that was a flash in the pan, but they did win 10 games. But if you remember, and you do like I do, but I can remember every Sunday you worried, how is Derek Anderson going to play? More importantly, if you remember, how is he going to start? Because, and they used to baby it and kind of give him an easy throw early in the game, maybe the first play of the game. I mean an easy throw, like a quick slant to Braylon Edwards or to Kellen Winslow, and then they hoped that got him going. Now, it didn't get him going down in Cincinnati, the day that they had to win, and they would have gotten into the playoffs the second to last week before the season ended, because if you remember, they ran the ball down the field on an incredibly windy, cold day down there. Jamal Lewis took them right down the field, and they didn't come up with anything. They went for it on 4th down, but he didn't throw it all. And then they came out throwing, and he threw like 5 interceptions, didn't he, in the game? By halftime, he had thrown them out of the game. This isn't like that. This kid's ready to go right from the start of the game. You don't have to baby him.
No.
Whereas with Anderson, the first pass was a 5-yard slant. This guy yesterday threw a 66-yard bomb that should have been a touchdown.
Right.
Perriman slipped.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. You sit there and you go, he's doing this with, Jarvis Landry is an all-pro talent at the wideout, at that slot receiver
I would agree.
spot.
Yeah.
But, he's doing this with Perriman and Higgins, and it's amazing. It's why we've told you over and over again, you get the quarterback, and it solves a lot of the problems, or at least it elevates people's performance levels. It really does.
Like, for instance, yesterday, they got nothing out of Callaway.
Right.
But they may get a ton out of him this week. They got nothing out of Duke Johnson yesterday. But you would think going to Denver and trying to slow down that pass rush, that the two running backs are going to become very, very important.
Yes.
Chubb and Duke Johnson out in the flats. Chubb has proven to be a very, very good catcher of the football as a running back. So the good thing that Kitchens is doing, too, is that, you never know where it's going to come from.
Right.
It could be Njoku, but it might not be Njoku. And then Mayfield's the wild card because he spreads it around. 8 different guys yesterday. I think 9 the week before. If you're there, if you're open, he'll find you.
He'll find you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rick says the Browns still need to cut back on the penalties. Yeah, yesterday I thought they went back to the fumbles, not interceptions, but fumbles and penalties were a bit of an issue yesterday.
Yeah, the penalties came in little clusters.
Yeah.
Zeitler got hit with 2 holding penalties, bang, bang. There was a crazy call one time when Robinson got called for a hold when actually Fells got his face mask grabbed.
Yes.
And that wasn't called.
That was crazy.
I agree with you. Carolina had more penalties. That was a pretty, flag-happy crew.
Yes,
I would say.
I would agree. Yeah. Yes, I would agree.
There was one point in the game where I felt that I was actually calling the game with Walt Anderson because he was on the mic so much.
Right.
He was on the mic so much. So I thought it was a flag-happy, crew. I'm not as worried about the penalties as I was about the tackling.
Yeah, and Bo Chamberlain says that they need to work on their tackling. It's horrible.
Well, they heard about it at halftime.
Yeah.
They were a little bit better, maybe more than a little bit better in the second half, but it was atrocious in the first half. There was one play that you just went, wow, unacceptable. There was a little slant thrown to the rookie receiver, DJ Moore.
Yeah, I
maybe
remember that.
7 yards. He bumped off like 5 guys.
Yes.
And it's like, you got him? No, I got him. No, nobody's got him. 41 yards later, somebody gets him.
Right.
But it was a 7-yard gain that turned into a 41-yard play.
Can't have that.
And you can't have that.
You can't have that. Watching Myles Garrett, and he came up with a couple of big sacks yesterday, and it's funny. I think people's expectation levels. I get the feeling listening to sports talk radio and everything.
They're sack happy.
They're sack happy, and I think he's had a really, really good year. Considering he's playing. He's been healthy, which was a big key. He's been able to stay healthy. I think he's still learning everything, but I think he's had a good year. I really do. I've been pretty pleased with what he's done.
Every play yesterday, he had 2 guys on him.
Yep.
He had, he had a tackle on him, and a lot of times the guards would come over and cut on him too. So he had 2 guys on him. Now, other guys had pretty good games because of him. Avery had a good game because of him. Ogba recovered a fumble on the strip by Garrett that got blown away because they called it an incomplete pass. But Ogunjobi, who played brilliantly with a bad bicep. There were other guys that played very, very well because of him. And that's the other thing you have to, and it's hard sometimes to watch the game and just focus in on one thing because you want to watch where the ball is. But I think sometimes if you ever can take a series, for instance, and just watch him, just watch him, I think you're going to see he's so disruptive and he requires so much attention from the other team that's not a statistic.
Yeah.
But it is a part of the game. And I think really if you went in and asked the Denver Broncos, what do you have to do on Saturday night? We have to block Myles Garrett. Just like we have to block Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. They have to block Myles Garrett, and he is a load to block.
Let's see here. What else we got? Any word on Ward from Cody? We'll probably know more Wednesday, I would think.
No, actually, I think you're going to know tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because we're a day shorter this week. That's right. That's right.
You know, he was still in concussion protocol. If he's out, you know, I think they would hope he'd be out tomorrow. They're going to practice tomorrow, because they have a short week. So they took their day off today. As you know, there was really no medical update on him. So I would look for tomorrow. But again, you know, if he's not out of it and he doesn't, or if he gets out of it so late that he doesn't practice, I don't know how available he's going to be to them. No doubt they would love to have him, and he would help a great deal.
But I was thinking about this yesterday. Mitchell comes back, and it's why I can remember people talked about it when the Browns made the trades and made the free agent signings, that going in to get a guy like TJ Carey, because they need depth. And it's nice to be able to plug him in, and he can come up with the defensive player of the game at the end and get the interception to help seal the game. And you know, it's one of those things I'm sure that's going to be a big priority in this offseason, filling out the rest of the roster and getting depth. So if you do your big guys go down, your key players go down, you don't have that big of a fallback.
Yeah, I agree with you. And they were a little thin because this other kid that they played the week before, Phillip Gaines, he was out yesterday too. So they were down Ward and Gaines. And Carey, I thought, fought the good fight yesterday. I mean, he was involved a lot. He won some, and he lost a couple. He lost an interception because he got called for a hold leading up, to the pass route. So, but that's all you want. You want them to, in this day and age, of the 5-yard, holding in the secondary. I mean, everybody gets hit with it. You just try and limit it. Their safeties played well. Randall played a great game.
Yeah, Randall.
He really played a great game.
It's to have him and to relieve Jabril Peppers of having to be a free safety now. What a difference. What a difference.
Dino, I think that Peppers, there's a breakout game for him, on the horizon. And he wants to hit a return. Now, he did run a punt back yesterday, like 15, pretty adventurous yards. He didn't go 60, he didn't even go 20, but the 15 that he gave them got them out of, instead of starting on their own 7, they were out by their 20 or 22-yard line, which is a lot better for anybody and certainly for them. But defensively, I sense that he's on the cusp
I agree.
of having that game that's going to help him a great deal. He so wants it. He is a fierce competitor. He really is, and he works really hard. So, he's due it. He deserves it too. And boy, I tell you what, if he gets it, they'll be much better for it.
Rick brings up a point, and a lot of other people have as well. The Browns, because of the victory, they're back on that playoff fringe.
Right.
Now, I'm quite sure if you ask Gregg Williams tomorrow, he'd say, well, look, we're dealing with Denver. We're on to Denver. We're just worrying about Denver. But, I mean, number one, it beats the alternative of not being in the playoff picture.
A draft preview.
Exactly. And number two, I think it's fun for fans because there is a pathway. You're going to need help, but it's conceivable. We've certainly seen it here before if you go back to 2002, where maybe they could slide in here if things work out for them. But I don't think, Denver, Cincinnati, Baltimore, none of those teams are insurmountable, where you sit there and you go, it's like the Chiefs or the Chargers, where you're going, I don't feel good about this game.
Right.
I mean, winning in Denver is very tough. Winning in Baltimore is tough. A division game, I don't care if it's home or away, is tough with the Bengals. And I know people want to make fun of them, but I thought they played pretty well yesterday against the Chargers.
Yeah.
But I think these are all winnable games for the Browns, conceivably.
Well, that's how you have to take it now. You shouldn't go into the games saying, there's no way they're going to win this one. Those days are over right now. I mean, they really are. They go into the game, and I don't even think some people say, well, they're a 7-point underdog. That doesn't mean anything. Really, that doesn't mean anything. That's for another, recreational situation. Remember now, they're not going in to play John Elway.
Right.
He's there, but they're not playing him.
Yes.
They're not playing Peyton Manning.
No.
So they're playing Case Keenum.
Yes.
And I don't know, they're 6-7. They had a humiliating loss yesterday to the 49ers.
Yeah.
They're a streaky team.
Yep.
A couple of weeks ago, they put together some nice wins, and it looked like they were back in the picture. They were in the picture, to be a wild card team anyway. And now they've kind of slipped out of it. Now they're in the hunt too, so it's an in the hunt game. But I don't think you go in there, to these guys on this team, the AFC Championship games don't mean anything.
Right.
I mean, they're really not aware of that, and I don't think it's a big factor for them. I think they just need to go in and continue to focus in, on what they have to do Saturday night. I hope they learn from the Houston week leading up to that to calm down on the talk and just go out and play.
Yep. Just cancel the noise.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot still out there for this team. And Jimmy, no matter what happens, I love the fact that they're getting better in December. And we're not sitting here, with the fourth string quarterback and the third string running back and just counting down to the end of the season. I mean, I've had 8 questions for you about how great is it to be doing games like this in December. I mean, it's
great.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's a
right.
dream come true. Believe me, it's you wonder at some point, will we ever get to this point?
Yeah.
Because we seem so far away from it. So their leap of improvement has been more than significant, very noticeable around the NFL. And, I think they're very excited to play Saturday night.
Yeah.
It's a primetime game for them.
Yep.
They like that. And the quarterback loves it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he loves this. That's the thing about him. He attacks the game.
Yep.
He doesn't wait for the game. He goes to get the game. Yep. Now, he may have a rough patch like he did against Houston, but I think he learned from that. You know how we want them to learn from that? But I think individually, I said to you last week, there's no doubt in my mind he's going to play well.
Yes.
Sunday against, and he did.
He did.
I think he'll play well Saturday.
He did. And by the way, I love the fact that after the game also he said, I'd like to see more fans in the seats. I have a problem with that.
Can I give you my picture on that? Okay.
Please do.
My thought on that is, I don't think he's played in front of empty seats.
No.
Okay, when you're the quarterback at Oklahoma, first of all, and you're playing at Norman, it's packed.
Always.
Okay? And when Oklahoma comes to play at another
Stillwater against Oklahoma State,
it's packed.
Yes.
Okay, so when you're in the Rose Bowl and you're playing Georgia to go to the national championship game, that's really packed. Okay, so it's so packed. There's a parade that morning. All right, so he's never played. He's used to that college thing. He said that a couple of weeks ago about the rivalry.
Yeah.
Remember, this is different. College rivalries are different than the NFL rivalries.
He's right. Yeah.
And now on our side, he needs to realize, hey, this has been horrible to watch for a long time. And let's just isolate the last 2 years. We've only seen them win once down at that stadium, and that was on Christmas Eve. That's a tough day for anyone to watch a game.
Yes.
You have family commitments, okay?
Exactly.
So I think there's 2 sides of the story there. My advice to him and my years of experience, and I think all of us would say the same, Baker, don't worry about it. That place is going to be jumping and packed. You keep doing what you're doing. That's going to be the toughest ticket to get.
Yep.
Simple. It's all going to happen.
It's all going to happen.
Yeah.
Everything is out there for the Cleveland Browns. Jimmy, enjoy the week.
Thank you.
Safe travels to Denver. I mean,
we're leaving on Thursday.
On Thursday.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And safe travels and have a great. I mean, this is fun for I think a lot of Browns fans to hear you and Deke get to call these types of games, and it makes the experience even better.
Well, I'm really happy for him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Me
I'm
too.
happy for myself. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It really is. It's the payoff for everything. But I'm really happy for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a Cleveland Brown.
He deserves this.
He's a Cleveland Brown.
He deserves this. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. For David Herberton and for Jim Donovan, I'm Dave DeNatale. The Donovan Live Postgame Show right here on WKYC's Facebook Live.